This is one of the best rugby trips I've ever done, on and off the pitch. As we all know, coronavirus took hold of the world in 2020 and pretty much cancelled all the plans we had. It was meant to be such a big year for sevens with the Tokyo Olympics, but this was quite rightly postponed along with all the other sevens tournaments for 2020. Coming back from Vancouver, I didn't think this would be the last time we played rugby, and I definitely didn't think we'd be out of a job by the end of the year. Unfortunately, that's what happened, and that leads me on to how I ended up in Bermuda. So I have a friend called Harry McNulty, and he called me saying he'd been asked to play in a tens tournament in Bermuda and they were looking for a half-back if I was keen. So I said, "You son of a bitch, I'm in!" 5 minutes later, I get a call from Treharne confirming the offer of a month in Bermuda playing tens, and I had the most beautiful bald head he'd ever seen. This would be the first trial run of the World 10 Series, which aims to be an elite 10-a-side tournament that runs after the 7 Series. And it aims to get some of the best 7s and 15s players on the same pitch. The team I was asked to play for was SX10 coming out of South Africa. They wanted to be a majority African team, but with everything going on with coronavirus, they decided to widen their catchment, which I was very happy about. We ended up with an 8-8 split of 7s to 15s players, but our management swung the majority towards 7s. I'd previously played 10s in college, and I'd always seen it as something that vets played while 7s tournaments were going on. But the World 10 Series had some new and exciting rules, which we'll touch on later. And they decided to do their first 3 tournaments in Bermuda. But obviously, there's a pandemic going on. We had to get a private coronavirus test that had to be negative 72 hours before we flew. This was quite a stressful process as it was completely new to everyone, knowing which tests would be accepted and which ones would come back in time. On top of that, these tests were not cheap. Once the test came back negative, we had to then apply to the Bermudan government for a travel authorization. And this all had to be done within 72 hours of flying. We got everything complete in time, so we headed off to the airport. Mumsy dropped me at the airport with about 20 print-offs that you needed to get onto the flight and into Bermuda. I met up with Harry and the whole process was pretty easy as the airport was a ghost town. Very vloggy. I was a little torn at travelling during a pandemic, but it was a chance to earn some money as our contracts had ended, and with the Olympics being the bigger goal, it was a chance to play some high-level rugby. I felt there was plenty of measures in place to make it as safe as possible, and there was a travel corridor between the UK and Bermuda, probably indicating there was a low risk. How beautiful is this airport? Once we arrived in Bermuda, they checked all your paperwork and they booked you in for the test that you needed to have while staying in Bermuda. The first one was as you were leaving the airport and on days 4, 8 and 14 during your stay. You also had to record your temperature twice a day and any symptoms that you were experiencing. We arrived at night and couldn't wait to see Bermuda in the morning.
Welcome to Breezes.
We had to wait for the results from our airport test before we could leave our rooms, and luckily they came back in the early hours of the morning. We were treated to a lovely sunrise and had a game of rugby on the beach with a coconut. It was really cool in the water as you could pretty much walk out to 100 meters without it ever getting higher than your chest. Quick fun fact, you can get fined $10,000 for killing a parrotfish as they clean the reefs. Bermuda being an island, the preferred local form of transport is on mopeds. Some of the boys took to the mopeds quicker than others, but luckily we only had one crash with the only casualty being a moped losing its front bumper.
Oh, Willie! Willie! Willie!
Day 4 came around, so we drove to the end of the island for our test and used the opportunity to hit some spots on the way back. It took us about 50 minutes to cover the length of the island, which gives you an idea of how big Bermuda is. We queued for a good hour waiting for the test. If you haven't had a coronavirus test yet, it's basically a swab up the nose to the back of your throat. And the best way I can think to describe it, that if you've ever had that deep itch which you just can't scratch, then this swab will get it. It's fairly uncomfortable, but not unbearable. Once this was done, a group of us headed to St George's for a look around and some lunch. Then we went on to my favourite spot on the island, the Blue Hole Park in Tom Moore's jungle. This epic blue water lagoon next to the sea with places to jump in. After this, we headed back down one of the two main roads in Bermuda, stopping off at different beaches on the way, my favourite being Warwick Long Bay.
You know it's good when it's just written on the top of the bottle.
Eventually, we headed back to the resort for a team meeting.
Okay, what are the reasons?
I've got like 4 reasons.
The day 4 test that we got in the car park, unfortunately, one of the boys came back with a positive test the next morning. I will say early on that I'm pretty sure this was a false positive, as no one else in our team ever tested positive. That player didn't show any symptoms and later tested negative. The Bermudan government treats every positive test as a definitive, so that player had to isolate on his own in his room for 2 weeks. And unfortunately, they weren't happy to test him again straight away to confirm the diagnosis. This positive test also had implications for the rest of the team. The tournament very quickly organised 2 more private tests for all of us in the hopes that we'd all be negative and able to play in the first tournament. All the players and staff tested negative twice, but the Bermudan government still decided we'd only be allowed to stay in the resort and not take part in the first tournament. It was quite a confusing time, but obviously safety was the biggest priority for everyone involved. And to be fair, staying on the resort wasn't exactly a chore.
Why one hit me now? Just teaching these young fellas how to do this. You know, make sure you're stable, knees are tight, you know, back straight, and follow through.
Beauty, Matt. But it wasn't all fun and games. Yes! We did some training once we were allowed. We found this little coconut patch and put some really good work in. And it shows what you can do with what's available to you, and it's all about adapting.
Yes, are you all doing?
Yeah!
Yes!
Yes!
The two battle dwarfs at it.
No, it's going to be tough, but yeah.
Sweet ass, baby.
It's not impossible. Anything is possible.
Live up to expectations, yeah.
And West is going back there, that's it. I die.
Andrew is the killer.
The killer.
No, he didn't strap.
You were that,
What's up? Hold up.
Like I mentioned earlier, coronavirus had completely ruined the Sevens World Series, so it was so good to see other players from different teams. It was awesome to play with lands that you'd normally play against. And it's really interesting to see how different countries approach playing and training. South Africa are well known on the Sevens Series for having these mega intense training sessions. Being in this team didn't disappoint. The fact they're called attitude sessions should give you an idea what they're like.
Try line! You're in the try line! You're in the try line! You're in the try line!
Come on, Thomas! Get in! Yo! Yes, dude, let's go! Yeah! Well done, brother. Well done, Ricky. Well done.
Like I mentioned, we missed the first tournament, but the organisers were kind enough to shift the second tournament back to accommodate our 14-day quarantine. We had to get up bright and early on the day of competition for our final test. And then it was a waiting game to see whether our results came back in time to play. Based off previous tests, we worked out to be about 4-hour turnaround, so we'd missed the first game, but hopefully we could be there to play London Royals at 4:30.
Few of the boys waiting on COVID results. It is now 3:15 in the afternoon, watching live during the break. We're just waiting, and once we get the all clear, we can go play. Hopefully!
But ultimately it was a lost cause as the test didn't come back till 5 o'clock. We were up early to do a primer in the morning, which is basically where you do some physical work to wake the body up and some hand-eye skills to wake the brain up.
Okay! Nice, Bagger!
Harry!
Oh. Andrew! Finally!
The excitement was palpable throughout the team. I couldn't wait to play, but I was still a little nervous as it had been so long since last playing in Vancouver.
It's all about whether SX10 can deliver. No pressure, first game of the tournament.
No, but we spoke to Luke Treharne just as they walked in and they were super excited to be here, relieved.
The nerves were settled after our first play as a team.
Positive COVID test quite some time ago now, it feels, and then they had to isolate. McNulty will help bring it down, and now here they come. Scintillating, passing straight away, and SX10 are on the score sheet immediately through Collins Injera. Welcome to the World 10 Series, SX10, right?
Well, we've waited a while for them, and that's not a bad way of starting, is it?
Coming through Jackson, solid. They've got such energy, haven't they? Just gone onto the field. McNulty floats one out to the right side. SX10 are going to be in for their second score. It's that easy for Injera.
But it's about McNulty's skill here, taking the ball to the line. Quite happy throwing the big wide, expansive pass.
To hit, decided to go with McNulty in the end. Kindrigan, really good clear out, but are we going to see these boys come all the way upfield from their own 22? Away from Treharne. Stepping back is Duplessis. Is he going to get the offload away? Fire it away. The little dummy through the legs. And then Benar is pinned to the ground.
How about that for a hit though, Collins Injera. He's got pace, but he's also got power. Great decision from him.
Kindrigan.
Get his players in the game quickly.
Can't be driven back in it.
William Bucker is throwing his weight around. There are absolutely huge smashes coming in from the number 12 for the SX10.
Footwork and the pace to get away from the first tackle, but does enough to bring him down. Thank you, Elmer. Great to get that insight from Ranna Combrick. And Treharne with a little dummy, and he's going to try and go. Aaron Matthews is trying to get after the Welsh international, but he's shown he's fleet of foot into the corner. Brilliant from Treharne. Another one of those players. We keep telling the stories in the World 10 Series about the players left out of these sevens contracts due to the sort of year we're having.
We spoke to him when he arrived here. He's excited about getting out on the field. Such a balanced footballer and pace to burn. One of the stars for the Welsh team, showing it in his class 10.
Going for a 5-pointer. Just giving it a good lick. Oh, the flags go up. SX10, welcome to the World 10 Series. They've scored themselves a bonus point win.
Isn't it? Just see here, Gary Porter, unfortunate clash of heads as he comes in to clear the ruck. All the SX10 players just coming around rallying towards Gary, making sure he's okay.
Ball was knocked backwards from the Phoenix, but it's going to be the Tribe. And then the big hit.
Spoken all along about the physicality of SX10, and another huge hit coming in from Tinus van Zyl there.
Self-exposed here. They straighten up. Support line was there from Hunt. Then Cecil Africa. Africa gets through, and will he go all the way? Looks on the outside, Duplessis cuts back, then he's caught, then the man on the shoulder. Oh, but it's another brilliant last-ditch tackle. The ball played off the floor. It'll be Harry McNulty to finish it.
It's exemplary, and McNulty embodies all of that there. Brilliant. And here with a 5-pointer, absolutely nails it as well. Yeah, he's having a stormer, isn't he, in a moment? He's got a huge boot, hasn't he there? Jackson, as a result of that, would it have changed the scoreline? I doubt it very much.
It's a brilliant dummy from Jackson. He's looking for support. He gets in from Africa. Cecil Africa. Little dummy back inside. Oh.
I mean, they are such a quality outfit. All over the park, internationals galore. Hip on shoulder, big smashes going in now. Their SX10 pride themselves on those one-on-one contact areas.
JT Jackson. Oh, another soaring kick.
This aviator's going all the way to the line.
Blew it, up to the 22. Rodriguez. His hands, that sort of match it will make.
Skills with the cheeky hitch kick on the outside. Contrast, aviators flying down and uses Simone sidestep. That is like trying to stop a tow truck.
On this side, Africa knew he needed to try and get through and then release the last man, and now it's Collins Injera. He's got support next to him. Oh, we could be in for some late drama here. It's William Bakker screaming for the line. He can ease up now. It's going to be all down to JT Jackson and whether he can nail the 5-pointer in conversion jeopardy.
First of all, that offload from Africa is cheeky, and then Papa glides his way through and off the shoulder like an absolute steam train is William Bakker.
Didn't sound like the greatest connection. And there's the 16-man squad for SX10.
Any type of rugby pitch. Takes it quick as his third quick tap on the bounce pretty much. And this 45-degree angle he runs at It's so deceptive. The one thing he will do continuously.
To that, SX10 leading by 7 points to 0. But here comes Craig Hunt, streaming upfield again, and Matt Turner has let him turn him once, but he's not hitting the screen. Injera, little stop go, then the release back inside. It's JT Jackson. Treharne then to add 2 points. Strokes it beautifully.
10 guys, the dummy, the deception, and why not? I'll throw in a little dummy. Philip Snyman. Dennis just trailing in his wake.
JT Jackson.
Oh, like, look at him fly. Played on France, and it's that simple skill that lets Oscar Dennis spot the mismatch on the outside.
McNulty plays it away. Wallace Sims, oh, nice step. And now away he goes. O'Keefe, the last man. But the pass in.
Frankie put the kicker on.
The body felt pretty good considering that was the first contact we'd taken in a while. We took the scooters to the other end of the island and we had a huge list of things to do and see which we hadn't been able to.
Keto.
But the coolest thing we did was being shown this local jumping spot by a lad literally on the side of the road. There was jumps all the way from little ones into the sea to ones that wouldn't have looked out of place in Red Bull cliff diving. So you were seeded for the finals day based off how you've done in the previous 2 tournaments. It was straight knockout, so there was a lot of pressure on the quarterfinals.
Come enjoy some beautiful rugby.
Fuck this up, man. Yeah.
Formidable, whatever game he's played.
Every single skill set he's got. Brilliant handling, lovely offloading, footwork.
Here Lloyd in the backfield. I think defensive line set. There is no one else you'd want on the ball. That 45-degree again, lovely line from ball.
You give this to SX10, they run right all day, and look what they're doing now, just opening them up.
Brilliant break by JP Duplessis, trying to stand up. Alessio was the last man, then the offload. Entertaining facial hair. Oh, our next session as Africa puts the ball through. Jackson claims it and now looks to try and use his leg drive and power.
That's what this SX10 side do, they just suffocate you. You don't know where to go, they put so much pressure on you themselves, a dummy, and then it's all about his physical strength. The SX10 just playing the ball quickly. And then Cecil, with his Predator-style dreadlocks, just bundles through.
Well, I'm sure as to what went on there at the restart, but they've taken the tap from the free kick, and now Oscar Dennis is looking to try and turn Tomasi Alessio and get the run into the corner, but Alessio recovers brilliantly. Well, they were simply too strong against the Asia-Pacific Dragons. Treharne. Quick feet. That is a well-lined-up hit from William Bakker.
You've got it, turnovers good. Great turnover for the SX10 now.
Weaving his way in and out, it's Tinas van Sale. And then looking to play it away to Corey Daniel. Daniel back to Treharne. Treharne's given us a little bit more time to choose their options. Treharne there, able to take his time and then send a little chip through. Jackson. Pass it on to Mbaka. Mbaka back in. Oh, the exceptional pace of Craig Hunt. And he's finished the score. 2 point.
Momentum. It's certainly William Barker. He's done that, and now they're off the races.
Ball inside for Uma. Did really well. Plays it away again. They might just be creating the right numbers of players on the outside. And Oscar Uma, the wardrobe on wheels.
The games went well and we advanced on to the finals to play Ohio Aviators once again.
Is the man in charge of this electric outfit. This is another good platform. for the Aviators. They've been enjoying scoring first. It's a lovely set move for the inside ball, and then the support from Hatting. It's cut away from that in just the right amount of time. There's the big hit coming in from
Far from Phil Stamen and Frankie Horn.
But they will get another call, only if it stops again. The Aviators over the line. Ep10, Treharne. Amonde once more, McNulty. And then the gap just opens up for Injera. And now he's putting his pedal to the metal. They are going to skip over for the score. It's going to be Collins Injera's fifth.
From the fancy footwork of McNulty, who then plays in Papa, Collins Injera. And just when you need some magic, Daddy Cool steps up.
The flags are raised, but the SX10 strikes back when they needed to. At half-time, it's fascinatingly boys of 15s against 7s here. It's a fascinating battle between the two. SX10 got themselves a turnover there, yes
They tried to be cute, the Aviators, go out the back to Sean Riley. The good tackle from Luke Treharne, and then straight over the top, Andrew Amonde.
Flops down on top of that ruck. Big physical stuff at line, but Aviators managed to keep it in. Is there a turnover? Okay, just Africa. Right, it's a little bit loose. It's come off an Aviator's hand. And then Treharne tried to go through, and then
it's in left arm.
O'Toole. See any sympathy from Doyle? Oh, that's lovely footwork from Van Sale. Brings him to ground. Now Africa, missed pass. It's got to be one for Collins Injera to level it.
Aviator side to stick to the game plan.
Brilliant take from Oscar Dennis. Hoisted into the air to secure that ball. Africa, Treharne, Duplessis, McNulty, Dennis once more. Some fairly hefty
Watch his hand.
skin on skin slapping collisions out there.
He's down now, let go and looking
Here pretty clearly. SX10 managed to get a knee to the ground, which means it's a tackle, and the Aviators have to release the man. Africa, Cecil Africa, ball back inside for Craig Hunt. Hunt got such quick feet, looking for the offload, but now Duplessis, and have the SX10 got extra numbers here. Collins Injera eyeballing Dylan Fawcett before he then released the ball, and then they're bouncing through the hits. William Backer nearly getting away. The volume goes up. Duplessis, Aviators defence is at 6s and 7s momentarily. Duplessis thinks he can carry Rodriguez all to the line. He's stopped just short. They'll reload to the right. Hunt will try and scuttle through, and he's over for the SX10 try. They take the lead at the final for the first time. It's another wonderful nudge, slightly sanitised the time.
They need it secured and then taken out of all the men joining it, trying to drive it up.
Tackle the front man only. Tackle the front man is fine. That's a tackle. Well done.
For more, it's not a maul till there's any contact. SX10.
All but Tristan blew it around the ball. Else out wide. Dylan Fawcett needs to be final where he was a key influencer there. Now Tucker just shows it, keeps it in. Aviators will keep knocking on the door here.
There'll be two-man tackles, otherwise Aviators will just keep picking and going.
Oh, Tucker's lost the ball, and it rolls into touch. Oh, goodness. And there goes the hooter. We will have the line out. Treharne to McNulty. Oh, it's been overthrown, and it's Dylan Fawcett for the Aviators.
Tackler.
Benzema. Campbell. Oh, if they could have got the ball away, they might have scored. But it's going to be in the hands of SX10 from the knock-on advantage. Luke Treharne runs it off the field, and JP Doyle blows the final whistle. The SX10 side, with all the challenges thrown at them, we hope are a metaphor for 2020. Coronavirus played its hand, but they've come through with flying colours in monochrome shirts. They win the inaugural World 10 Series.
Cannot be moved. up? Whole team?
Yeah.
Just for me, for everyone, all the nationalities, all our backgrounds, races, colours, creeds, everyone else. Fuck it, we played one hell of a team, one hell of a success story for what we've been through. Can we please raise a toast to SX?
It was an awesome final and amazing to come away with the win. And on top of this, Collins Injera got the most tries scored in the tournament and JT Jackson took home the overall points scored in the tournament. I really hope this 10 series continues. I thought it was an awesome experience. Just wanted to say massive thank you to all the boys that played on my team and all the management that just made it an awesome experience. If you enjoyed this video, want to see more, then please drop us a like and subscribe.
Right there.
More about the brewery.
The what? The brewery? The what?
The brewery.
Yeah.